Welcome back to the channel, guys. Right, I'm Kevin from Yoga Fish in Pietermaritzburg, and this is going to be the fourth video in my yoga diary, and there are going to be 7 videos that are going to form the first 7 videos of this channel, are specifically aimed to give anyone who is interested in attending a Saturday morning hot yoga session, 26+2, a very good idea as to what is going to happen, what the nature of the sequence is. You'll be able to see how accessible the poses are to any person. I'm not very flexible. I have very short hamstrings. Over a decade of squash recently has tremendously shortened my legs and my fibers. So 26+2 is one of the most accessible sequences available to those of us who are not very flexible. It forms, once one goes through the whole sequence, the standing sequence and the floor sequence, it actually forms a very long 90-minute sun salutation in a sense. So we see the movement of the poses, we see what goes through the standing sequence into the seated sequence. You'll be able to see that the 90-minute meditation is there for those of us who are not very flexible to be able to get a very powerful workout, very good system and sequence that will work through all of the organs in the body. So in this note, number 4, we're going to be simply dealing with the standing sequence. Alright, the standing sequence. Alright, so hot yoga, we're reminding all yoga 2 meters by 50. There is your rectangle. So we're always going to be reminding you in this channel that the amount of space that you require in your own yoga practice is very little. The rectangle of the yoga mat offers all the space that you require. Okay. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the standing sequence here tonight. We're going to be talking through them. I'm going to be reading so we can get a sense of what these things do. And this is going to be a slow talk through what happens in the standing sequence. Okay. Everything happens twice. Everything happens twice. The first set, you're reminding yourself from week to week, oh, that's what I'm doing. Your second set, the mind's going to start letting go a little bit more of that question, what am I doing? Am I doing it right? Because the goal is that the more you practice this practice, the more you're able to come into the room, into the space with the yogis, and simply let go, maintain a very steady drishti throughout the practice. Your best practice is when you do not even see anybody else in the studio. Then you have really accomplished a profound, deep cleansing meditation. So in a sense, the first pose is drishti. You're looking for one spot on the wall in front of you. That is your meditative point, your drishti, which is the yogic terminology for where is your gaze, where is your eyes, is very important. In this practice, it's very simple. It's straight ahead of you. You come into the practice from a standing position, toes together, ankles together, heels together. Always start to suck the stomach in. Clothing for a hot yoga session. You are going to perspire. So your clothing needs to be appropriate to absorb and allow you to move with confidence while you're going to perspire. So typically tights, yoga tights, men traditionally for this practice would be bare chested. It's entirely up to you. What is important is that you're comfortable, your clothing's not going to get in the way of your practice, and it's going to allow your limbs to move. And as you get more and more covered in perspiration, your clothing is still going to give you the confidence to continue with your practice. Okay. Sometimes the practice is called 26 plus 2. Other times, if we count it, depending on what there are just 26 poses with 2 breathing exercises being included in them. What's important is that the sequence is set. And a breathing exercise starts the practice, and a breathing exercise ends the practice. So the entire practice is placed and sandwiched between 2 pranayama breathing exercises. Pranayama refers to yogic breathing exercises. So here we refer to breathing exercises that have a specific purpose. Pranayama in this practice, the first one, is almost like an extreme form of ujjayi breathing. The epiglottis is very important in ujjayi breathing. So when we do ujjayi, we breathe in, and then we constrict the epiglottis as we rasp the air on the exhale breath, sounding like Darth Vader. Practicing this, particularly in Vinyasa Yoga, will allow the body to heat up. So the point is that the epiglottis area is central in the ability to generate heat. So this pranayama that starts with this practice, to some extent, can be seen as like an extreme form of ujjayi breathing, to rapidly heat up the body. 10 breaths in the first sequence, 10 breaths in the second sequence. Okay. Practice begins standing. Normally we will take a moment to center ourselves, hand coming into prayer position. Then interlocking the fingers tightly up to the webbing. So in this practice, many of the holes are going to be up to the webbing. Up to the webbing. The elbows, if you can, you're trying to squeeze them as much towards you so that they are touching. So you've almost got a set of wings. There's then going to be an inhale breath to the count of 6. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, on 6, I should really be higher. It's maximum. So we're timing as we flow with that 6 breaths. We're timing the elbows up maximum so that you are feeling the rib cage expanding. The rib cage is expanding. You want maximum air. Then on the exhale breath, you remain contact with the fingers below the chin, knuckles to the chin. Remain. Keep the contact. Exhale. Open mouth. Loud ah sound. The elbows touch. You're trying to touch on the exhale. All the air has been squeezed out. Now fully extended on that exhale. Inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. Now breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Expand the rib cage. Think about all the space possible. Exhale. Elbows touch. Try to squeeze the air out. All the air is out. Think it out. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. So on the exhale breath, you're pushing the chin back, you're touching the elbows. The inhale breath, you are flowing down, remain in contact until the head is level halfway through. Keep the head in the stirrup. As you flex the fingers, you will feel a tremendous flexing in the fingers in the stirrup. Keep that chin nice and flat. Find that gazing point, one point fixed on the opposite wall. Okay. That breath is going to happen 10 times. Break. Samastitihi, the neutral pose, standing neutral. And then we will go into the second set. I've only done 4 breaths and I can already feel the heat that is generated. So the first exercise that you do is you do a standing breathing exercise, pranayama, deep breathing, standing deep breathing to heat up the body. Generating heat is going to allow the muscles to expand into the hatha poses. Okay, that's pranayama, deep breathing, good for the lungs, good for the respiratory system, warming us up. All right, pose number 2, Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana. So technically 2 poses, possibly that's where we sometimes get, where's the 26 poses? Maybe this one's actually 2 poses, it is. All right, so Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana, half moon pose with backward bending and hands to feet pose. All right, so the inhale breath is up. You are stuck between 2 panes of glass, between 2 walls. You're lifting up your hands, you release the index fingers, and again all the other fingers are up to the webbing as you're expanding. You want to feel those elbows, the elbows are pressed against the head. So that's what I'll be looking for. All right, with the eyes in the back of my head. Okay, the practice is practiced in the way that we all face the same direction. This is to encourage us not to be involved with each other. We're not in the practice to be involved with each other. We are simply to meditate and give each other motivation through the group energy. So this half moon pose is a little bit different to the one that you may know if you're an experienced yogi through a Krishnamacharyan style, but it is part of the, shall we say, the genre, the broader set of flank strengthening poses, side poses, half moon. All right. So we don't want a forward leaning, we don't want a backward leaning as we hear. We want to get that sense that there we have a sheet of glass here, we have a sheet of glass at the back, and we can only move to the sides. Drishti is focused, chin is nice and up. Inhale, breath, and a nice exhale. We're going to go down. Now, the first stretching point, you find your max is not your full max. Your second set will allow you a deeper max, and as we go towards the end of the pose, we will do so. So here we'll be holding up to 45 seconds sometimes. Okay, so we are leaning, and the trick is that chin up and the elbows pressed against the head is what is critical. Weight, feel the weight in the heels. We'll be counting and then we will inhale. We will come up to the center. Yes, your arms will be burning at this point in time. Okay, just keeping your arms up in the sky is quite challenging. Again, it's challenging but accessible. Accessible to many of us. Inhaling breath, exhaling. We're going to go to the other side as we try and push our hips. We're going to go sending the hips out to the right hand side. To the right hand side as we're collapsing, compressing on the left hand side. So this yoga works a lot on the tourniquet effect. Compressing into organs, compressing muscles. When we release, like any tourniquet, we're going to have fresh oxygenated blood coming into those organ areas that we have just compressed, squeezing out the blood. We're going to hold the pose. We're going to come back to the center. We are going to try our very best to keep our arms up. All right. And then on an inhale breath, as we're going to go into a standing backward bend. Standing backward bend. Okay, so this one's not named in the Sanskrit, so to speak, in this sequence. Coming down, Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana, meaning half moon pose, with hands to feet pose. You will feel a shaking sometimes as you lean back. As you go back, you're looking back. You will not fall over. You will not fall over, but you want that sense. Buttocks is tight, squeezing. Up we go. We're going to maintain. We're going to maintain our hands up. Inhale, breathing. Exhale. We're going to then transition down with the hands coming down to the floor. The fingertips for most of us, we're going to bend our knees. Again, you can see. As a yogi, as somebody who loves yoga, I am extremely unflexible. So the point about that is, if the only people who were allowed to do yoga were flexible, well then that would be rather sad. There is always hope for all of us. Okay, so firstly, we're going to try and get that crown of that head. That crown of the head down there, generally, then there's a left and a right. The left and the right as we are releasing the lower back. We are releasing the lower back. Again, very, very simple. If you are really in a situation where you can't even do that, you will be able to hang. I'll give you variations as we release the lower back area. Let's get the left and the right. And then once we have released that lower back, we'll be dropping down to the floor onto our haunches. As we come onto our haunches, yes, the heels are going to come up. We're going to think about the two baby fingers touching each other. If we're not going to get that right in the beginning, you're going to try and find your variation, constantly using the brain to think the two pinkies one day parallel as we come from under the heels. So this Padahastasana is on the heels, not the front of the foot. And inhale, breath, and exhale as we then going to go up as far as we can. Alright, so for those of us who can maintain this, we are going to be looking to bring the forehead onto the knees. The forehead onto the knees, the forehead onto the knees. We're going to be squeezing. We want no room for light or air between the thighs and the torso. Like a little sushi roll, like a little maki roll, you are going to roll forward. You're going to roll forward. We're going to maintain. We're going to maintain. You're going to slowly start feeling as we try and flex. Every one of us can do that with that compression between the torso and the thigh, going through the pose. And then what's very important for me, certainly, let's come out of the pose in a yogic fashion, which means everything is choreographed. Everything is precise. There are no movements for the 90 minutes of the practice that are extraneous, is your goal. Alright, then there will be breathing. Set 1. Set 2. Okay? Always we're going to do it twice in the 90-minute sequence. So that was Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana. We are exercising the flanks, we're compressing organs, left hand side, right hand side. We're going down, we're releasing the lower back. We're also getting compression on the organs in the Padahastasana pose. All of that helping digestion. So for all of this in this particular yoga note, I'm going to be reading from this particular literature to give you an idea as to what the benefits are. Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana. Benefits. Works the whole skeletal and circulatory systems. Opens shoulder joints. Good for frozen shoulders. Relieves lower back pain. Good for abdominal obesity. Relieves bronchial distress. Good for sciatic deformities. Improves cell division. Stimulates pituitary. Exercises colon, pancreas, kidneys, muscular, skeletal, respiratory, and glandular systems. Okay, that's Ardha Chandrasana with Padahastasana. Let's just get a bit more light into my area here. Okay. Pose number 3. Awkward pose. Utkatasana. Alright, so this Utkatasana is going to be a little bit different to what most practitioners are going to be used to, coming from Vinyasa style yogas. Awkward pose, again part of the genre of various awkward poses available in yoga. And this one goes like this. It's in 3 parts. The left foot out, the right foot out. They are shoulder width apart. You can look down, sometimes you can put your hands down, check. You're looking for a box-like feeling. That is why the feet are absolutely straight. It is almost unnatural that you are looking for that straight feeling. There we go, adjusting. Up go the arms. The arms go up. Inhale, breath, and we sit down. We sit down with the feet flat. We sit down with the feet flat, and we imagine that we've only got 2 centimeters of a chair. It's like we've been sent to detention in a 19th century school classroom, and we're now in the dock. Okay, we are thinking about 2 centimeters. Can we lean back? Can we go back, keeping the feet flat, keeping the arms up? Okay, this is intense in and of itself. Counting through the seconds, timing, and then we will come up. Be a 10-seconder like that. Then it's going to be inhale, up. Tippy toes. Now we're doing reflexology into those toes, all the digits of the toes into the ground. Let's try and keep up those heels on our tippy toes as if we're in the highest heels possible. Keeping that, we are going to bend. We are going to bend. We are going to bend and bend and bend and bend and bend and bend and bend, and then lift up the heels again as you maintain. Right, leader will count. Leader will count, will maintain typically 6 to 7 seconds. All right, 67 seconds, and then we're going to come up. As we maintain, boom, still trying to maintain up on the heels. You're going to bring your knees together. Imagine you are zipping everything up from the knees to the groin. Stuck, glued together, heels are up. You are leaning against the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll count you down. When you're at the bottom, you're keeping your knees together as much as you can. Gentle bounces. Gentle bounces are very good for the knee joints. Very good, keeping the knee joints flexible all the time, all right? There, little bounce, and we're going to come up, counting through it slowly. The left foot in, the right foot in, reaching up, stretching always, floating down to Samasthiti, standing resting pose. I personally find 2 Ujjayi breaths are perfect between sets 1 and 2. The practice is not prescribed with Ujjayi breathing, but I certainly find that very cleaning and very centering as we move from set 1 to set 2. That's the breathing in through the nose, constrictus epiglottis. All right, certainly will maintain heat in your practice. Utkatasana. Benefits. Improves overall body strength, opens pelvis, relieves menstrual cramping, shapes lower muscles, uses all major muscle groups, cuts fat pockets under butt, aligns skeletal system, good for digestion, good for joint pain, good for immune disorders, good for arthritis of knees, improves flexibility in toes and ankles, relieves sciatica, exercises liver, intestines, and pancreas. Utkatasana. All right, now moving into eagle pose, Gurunasana. All right. So typically in a sequence like this, we will only drink our first bit of water after Gurunasana. So here in the start of the practice. If you're brand new to it, the room is hot, you're starting to perspire profusely, we're going to discourage you to drink until after this pose. Gurunasana. Alright. First you've got to know, what is your right hand? What is your left hand? Bring your left hand directly in front of your face. It is carving the face into left and right hemisphere. With the right hand, think it's like a wing. Okay, eagle pose, think it's a wing, and you flap the wing underneath the left arm. Now as the hand and the palm comes up of the right hand facing the left hand side, can you bring it to get those fingers into the palm, Alright, some people will be able to go further, get a good grip, okay, but your basic goal is that. If you've got very broad shoulders that are not going to allow you to do that, you will then try and bring them as close as you can, constantly thinking it. As I say, if you can't do the pose, think the pose in your mind. It still works and develops the neural pathway that is associated with the pose. But ideally, most of us can get that grip, we can get a grip, and once we've got that grip, there's a little downward thrust on the shoulders. That is opening up those shoulders, and inhale, breath, and then we're going down into that chair pose, that Utkatasana chair pose. There's that chair pose, Utkatasana style. Okay, this is Gurunasana, also part of the seated, this kind of squatting genre of poses. Alright, so we're down there, then it's an inhale breath as we're going to lift up the right leg as much as far as we can. Alright, a decade ago I could get the foot behind the calf muscle. It's sort of there, unfortunately, as I was saying, a lovely period of sport has taken its toll, but maybe with regular return to yoga practice we can try and get some of the repairs and flexibility back in the joints. So we're going to squeeze, ideally we are looking to bring the foot behind the calf muscle. We'll come out of the pose. I encourage you to use fly. Eagle pose, fly is my metaphor. Think, breathe. Okay, then as you're flapping that left wing, the right hand now divides the face. The left hand, opposite side. Can we bring these fingertippies up here into the palm there? Yes, we can. Alright, can is the word, guys. It's about overcoming fear. It's overcoming and doing what you can. If you can't do what's happening, you're going to go down to child's pose. You can rest at any time. I repeat, you can rest at any time. Don't psych yourself out of what is a phenomenal practice. Alright, there. Down, boom, down there. Then it's the left foot is going to come up. The left foot is going to come up. There we have it. All right. And I'm going to think it, okay, pulling in on the bandhas to get my balance back. No, nothing can go behind the calf muscle, but I think. Why? And I do that and I squeeze because I'm squeezing still here on these joints. Tourniquet effect here, testes, sex organs, alright, all the way through, elbow, toe, fingertippies, wrists. A lot of the main pressure points are being worked in Gurunasana, eagle pose, and we will do it twice. Okay, and then typically, that's at that point in time that we will say to the group, okay guys, have your first sip of water. And try not drink any water between a first and a second set of a pose. Between poses, good, but don't go ballistic. Okay, but most of the time, up to temperature, working, you are losing a lot of fluid by this point in time. And that's part of the cleansing process, and there's a whole range of other benefits that come along with the heat. Okay, all right, so eagle pose. Let's see what is said here. Gurunasana benefits. More joint work, bigger joints, stretches central nervous system, creates pressure on lymphatic glands. strengthens lower extremities, helps joint mobility at hip girdle and 12 major joints of the body, improves balance, good for varicose veins. Okay, standing head to knee, Dandayama Jana Shavasana. Alright, standing head to knee, Dandayama Jana Shavasana. This one's pretty fierce, okay, pretty fierce. And with all these poses, there's a range that you can do. For absolute advanced yogis, you know where you're going to go. You're going to be looking at your knee and you're going to be doing a right angle for us, and it's super intense. So again, this sequence has tremendous entry points for the advanced yogi and the absolute beginner. Okay, all right. So for absolute beginners, this is what I'm going to talk through. Standing head to knee, I'm always going to say to people first, so it's going to be locked out left leg. Give all that weight. You're thinking like a flamingo. A flamingo's knee goes in the opposite direction. So you're going to feel what this does. Now for those of us like myself who have very short contracted hamstrings, etc., there are moments where just to get into the pose we have to release a bit. Okay, but that's our first prize. Alright, beginner's pose, for your first 10, 20, 30, 50, there is no rush. I often say to beginners, just learn your balance below the knee, not on the knee, and stand tall. See how you're going to do there. And if nothing else, you just stand and you hold your knees and you keep expanding and you keep expanding that chest out and you're thinking about your crown of your head going up towards the sky. Keep going, keep expanding. Then I'm going to say, left hand, right hand, up to the webbing. There's the stirrup. There's the stirrup. See, I bent my knee, my snake a little bit, but now I'm going to lock it out. Now I'm going to lock it out. Can I maintain? And once I get the lock out, there will be a little gentle kick forward. Now, even this little gentle kick forward is immediately, as you start working forward. Again, I emphasize, advanced yogis, it looks quite different. Okay, very different. But the benefit is still there, because as we get the feet, the hands interlocked underneath there and we lock out, you will feel in the standing leg, you will feel a tremendous kind of pressure, like a burning sensation. That is when you know you've got the pose. Alright, so all the other stuff that comes there has no importance. Even as somebody like me who will never get that, it's impossible, I'm too old, ain't happening. Yoga is not all about flexibility, it's about doing it. Okay, and finding your variation. Alright, so it's going to be that side, we're going to go, let's repeat on the other side. We're going to come to the other side, standing leg, concrete, unbroken lamp post. No knee, you are a flamingo. You want your knee to go backwards, lock it out. Up you go, get that feeling. Grow nice and tall, you're a beginner. You can just stand, there is never any pressure to do all the poses. Okay? It's not the end goal, it's the process. There's the continual lesson, the continual reminder. It's the process. There. Can you go further? Can you progress in Dandayama Jana Shavasana, standing head to knee pose? Right, up to the webbing. Lock out that knee. Lock out that knee. A gentle kicking forward, drishtis towards your spot, faces up. So eventually for more advanced yogis, you can see they're going to be going out, out, out. That would be eventually straight. And there are some human beings who can actually put their face on their knee while they're standing like that. There. All power to them. Never let what somebody else can do prevent you from doing what you can do. Okay. Alright, so again, we can see we've had no strains, it's actually very simple. I repeat, very simple stuff. Okay, what's going on with standing head to knee, Dandayama Jana Shavasana? Good for mental strength, certainly. Improves concentration. Realizes oneness of mind and body. Uses all major muscle groups and internal organs. Primary digestive, secondary digestive, improves circulation and flexibility. Good for diabetes, improves pancreatic functions, strengthens back muscles. Okay, standing bow pulling pose. Standing bow pulling pose. Dandiyama Dhanusarasana. Alright, not to be confused with Natrasana, the dancer. Got some similarities, but also some very, very specific differences here in this one. Alright, Dandayama Dhanusarana, standing bow pulling pose. So the first instruction will come. Hands, right hand up, palm is up. Palm is up. Okay, so I like to do this like a moment of receiving. Let me receive energy. Alright, let me receive energy. Boom. Nice and tall. You're always as if you're presenting yourself to your maker. Alright. Working on the symmetry of the body. Specifically moving through all the organ and muscle groups. Okay, the second instruction will be bend the right leg. The third instruction will be inside grip. Meaning it comes on the inside of the foot, and how do you know you've got it right? Your thumb is by your big toe. I repeat. Your thumb is by your big toe. Right, that's when your grip is right. Okay, so it's not, that's an outside grip. That would be for a different pose. This is an inside grip, thumb is, and it is for Dandayama Dhanusarasana as taught in this sequence. Alright, then the knee comes together. An inhale, you load the bow. Here is the arrow. Okay, or you're expanding the bow, whatever way you want to think about it. You're reaching out, those fingertips are off to the sky. It is an inhale breath, a strong emphasis on the bandhas, okay, the internal muscle points, which are going to provide your balance. Alright, inhaling, exhaling, and you're going to come forward, and you are going to kick into the back leg in order to bring it up, okay, and balance may be a significant issue for most of us. If you're going to fall out, there's nothing wrong with that. You fall out, you try again, okay. If you see, you try and back, come back to bandhas, and we're going to kick. Alright, and with the harder I kick, the more that back foot is going to be coming up. Left hand side, right hand side, repeat. Another tip that I also say to people is sometimes on your mat, if you're battling with balance, come off the mat, find the floor. The floor is more solid. It can sometimes be that the movement in the mat on the foot can make balancing a little bit more challenging. So let's see how it looks on the other side. Again, the left hand is out, the palm is up towards the sky. The left leg bends, an inside grip. The thumb is next to the big toe. Stomach in. Alright, never a bad thing. Stomach in. Alright, reaching up. Nice and there. Okay, what's the foot like? Is my foot, alright, quite tricky for me because my ankles tend to collapse in as a severe pronator. Inhale, exhale, can I come forward? Can I come forward? Can I keep my chin to my shoulder? Can I look past my longest finger? Can I now kick? And as I kick, I am going to lift up and I am going to pull. Do you see where the pulling is? Alright, do you see where that pulling is coming from? Very good, into the kidney function. Alright, Dandayama Dhanusarasana. Cardiovascular, increases circulation to heart and lungs, opens diaphragm. Good for frozen shoulders, improves elasticity of spine. By the compression that you saw, creates marriage between strength and balance, activates the digestive system, cures infertility, balances ovaries, eliminates abdominal fat, helps prostate problems. I'm not actually sure where I got this literature from, but it's written in what is sometimes seen in the older yogic style as sort of very terse little instructions and benefits. Alright, balancing stick pose, Tulu Dandasana, balancing stick pose. Okay, so that one, so once you've done standing head to knee, then you're going to do that's in some ways the hardest part of the practice. Whatever's happening after this is actually quite a lot simpler. Okay, those can be pretty intense on the balancing point. If you fall out, never mind, you don't bother anybody next to you. It's Nobody's worried. You can fall out as many times as you like. Okay. You try your best. If nothing else, you go down to child's pose, or you just stand in Samastitihi. The key thing is that if you need to take a rest and you need to just recuperate, you're not bothering the people around you. Don't make your discomfort other people's discomfort. Try and deal with your own discomfort. Okay. Alright, that's the spirit of yoga. Alright, so, Tulu Dandasana, we're going to be at the front of the mat. We're going to say step to the back of the mat. Take a big step. Your mat is now a runway. Alright, it's now a runway in front of you. Very good for the heart. It's going to raise the heart rate up. Again, inhale, breath. We're going to reach up. We're going to release those index fingers. Everything else is up to the webbing, sucking in that stomach. Inhale, breath. And you're going to step forward. Big step. You're going to land. And now, here's your balancing stick. You're going to become a capital letter T. You're going to become a capital letter T. You're going to point your toes. You're going to imagine somebody's pulling these fingers, that fingertip, and you're going to start bringing that gaze, just lifting that gaze up a bit, as if you're almost encouraging the front fingertips to go up a bit with that gaze. Okay, I want you straight at the toes. Okay, 2 feet in front there is perfect as well, if you can maintain that stretching and expanding out. It's going to be a 10-second pose. This one we don't keep too long. You're going to come back. You're going to try your very best to keep your arms up. To keep your arms up. Don't let them fall down. Okay? That's usually part of the practice. Lovely inhale breath. Then a nice little exhale breath. As you step forward. Boom. Go. You see, every person can sprint and every person can do it this way. We can't all sprint the 100 meters because of our knees, because of our hips, because of the inevitable ravages of age. But we can do Tulu Dandasana. Tulu Dandasana is available for all of us. Okay? So 10 seconds, it's there, we're lifting up, we're stretching, we're stretching, we're stretching. Can you imagine that stretch in 2 directions? The big toe, that one, back you're going to come down. Boom, over there, reaching up to the sky, and floating those arms down, Samastitihi. And second set. Second set complete. We come back to the front of the mat. Even just doing these little short explanation ones, the heart rate is up. All right. Tulu Dandasana. Benefits: cardiovascular, increases blood flow to all over the body and arteries of heart, clears blocked arteries, prevents future cardiac problems, total spine stretch, relieves stress from spine, great for emotional problems, good for varicose veins, builds strength in lower extremities, exercises pancreas, liver, spleen, nervous, and circulatory systems. Standing, separate leg stretching. Dandiyama Bikapada Paschimottanasana. That's right, Paschimottanasana. Standing, separate leg stretching. It will be an inhale breath as the hands come together. The thumbs will cross, but we will not release the index finger as we go out to the side, to the right hand side. Okay. You will be like Leonardo da Vinci's Universal Human. Alright, you've got a hula hoop. Think about a hula hoop. There, you're touching the sides of the circle. The hands are ideally there over the feet. The feet are straight as well. And as time goes by, better to pigeon toe, but what we don't want is we don't want the toes out that way and the heels on inside. Nope. Sorry about that, guys. Woo! Nearly a bit of a folly. Okay. Alright. Crown of head always stretching up towards the sky. Stomach in. Exhale as we're then going to come down. Okay, so the drishti, the gazing point on this is flat at the ground. It's not prasarita.
It's not Prasarita from the Ashtanga primary series. This is Dhanayama Bikapada Paschimottanasana. So the drishti, the face, is going to be flat, and we're going to be looked to kiss forehead flat is what the drishti in the brain is thinking. Okay, obviously not going to happen anytime soon with this particular human body. Alright, but I'm thinking it. And I'm reminding myself that anybody can do yoga. Yoga is not only for the incredible, the flexible, the beautiful, what have you. It is also for the creaky. Yoga for the creaky. So I'm trying to roll forward, roll forward, roll forward. As I get that roll, now you either maintain, and if you feel you can expand, you're going to go to the sides of the feet, or you can do to the big toes. Ideally, eventually, this one is full on the behind, as you're then going to try and pull down with the elbows while keeping the weight coming forward and keeping those knees locked out. So we get a deep, long stretch. You may need to walk your feet in. You're used to that. To come up, set one, boom, set two, boom. There's your set two. Inhale, breath. Going down, see, balance here, focus on that. Walk the feet out and you see that you're fine. What can you do? Can you grab? Don't have to, don't go too fast until you're ready. Pulling forward, stretching, and then we will say change. Change, come out, are your cues. Inhale, breath. Your transition moment is in fact Virabhadrasana B, Warrior 2. Always nice to know and see the other poses that can appear in the transition moments of your practice. Alright? There. Okay, so we can all see that's Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana B. Alright, what's that one about? Alright. Dhanayama Bikapada Paschimottanasana, standing separate legs, stretching. Benefits, brain problems, aneurysms and tumors. Preventative, increases circulation to brain, good for psychotic depressions. Centering and stretching spine where nervous system is housed, good for constipation, good for abdominal obesity, good for diabetes and hyperacidity. Increases circulation to adrenal glands. Releases lower back, exercises muscular, adrenal, and reproductive system. Okie dokie. Now we're going to go to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Just give it Trikonasana. It's not Uttita Trikonasana, and it's not also Parsvakonasana. No. It is a triangle pose. As in the sequence, it's got a few specific things that can make a difference to very similar poses practiced in other sequences. Primarily, I'm referring to Ashtanga primary series poses. Parsvakonasana, Uttita Trikonasana, being the triangles that are in that standing series. Inhale, breath. Okay, cross the thumbs. Step out to the right. Okay, so Trikonasana. Chin is to shoulder, drishti is over the longest finger. Little bounce, stretch the body, allow it to respond. Okay, this is where it's a little bit different. Inhale, breath, so the stance is the same as Parsvakonasana, but inhale, breath, but the hands and the elbows are going to do something different. It's going to come onto the inside elbow, fingertips are going to come between the big toe, other toe, but not touching on the ground. Then you're going to reach up. You're going to be thinking drishti is going to follow and up. And as you find this up, I want the chest opening and I want that hip sinking down. Hip sinks down, up is chest, sky, universe. Okay, and we're going to count it through. We hold, we maintain the pose for the duration of the pose length. And then when we come out, boom. Swiveling the feet. The transition poses are simple. The transition movements are simple. It's just the feet there. Boom. A little bouncy, bouncy. Get ready. An inhale breath. Growing tall on that inhale, crown of head to sky. Elbow now in front of the knee. Fingertips between the big toe, other toes not leaning though, not touching. Up we go. You see, we're going to reach up, chin to shoulder, expand that chest, think gaze, mind, universe, open, drop the hip a little bit. So often what is wrong there, and that's where a lot of correcting is that people tend to stick their hips to up. It takes a bit of time and practice to fully let that hip sink down. Very good for the heart. Boom, hop, boom. Sprinting, guys. Simple yoga pose. I'm almost out of breath. Okay, you can get a tremendous cardiovascular kind of workout that is equivalent to a standard kind of gym workout through this sequence in the right heat. Okay, it's phenomenal practice. So, Trikonasana. Benefits, triangle pose. Cardiovascular, major side stretching, opens hips, senses the self. Good for kidneys, thyroid and adrenal glands. Good for frozen shoulders, ribs, saddlebags. Affects muscles, nerves and tissues. Helps chemical imbalances. Helps anorexia, constipation, colitis, low blood pressure, appendicitis, and menstruation. Works all muscle groups at the same time. I assure you, it does do that. Okay. Standing separate leg, head to knee, Dandayama, Bikapada, Janusharasana. Okay, so here it's not a Dandayama, Janusharasana standing, it's got the separate leg, because there's the Bikapada. Okay, so let me explain to you how this works. It's a smaller step. There we are, back to Samastitihi. Inhale, breath. We step to the right, it's a smaller step. It's not the 5.5 feet. Remember in yoga we often have the 5.5 foot step and we have the 3.5 foot step. Okay, 3 step. We open the hips completely to the right hand side that we've moved into. We give a little bit of a twist in the hips just to allow those hips to release. And inhale, breath. We're always growing tall. We're growing tall. We're growing tall. We exhale as we come forward. We are looking to place our fingertips in line with the toes there, and for the beginners we're going to have them elevated like this, but the main thing is we look at the knee, you look at the knee, you say hello to the knee, you inhale, you exhale, and then you put your forehead, the point between your brow, on your knee, and you push your knee backwards as much as you can, and you can barely speak. Right. If you've got a whole lot of body in between you and there, you're still going to be compressing, you're still going to be working the thyroid, you're still going to be doing it. It may not look like anything like that. It may look nothing like that. I repeat, if you're able to think it, if your body is stopping way before, you can still think and do that. Alright, and if you can't do the pose at all, you sit the pose out, you don't bother people around you. Alright, up we go. Up we go. Boom. Boom. Okay. Inhale. Dandayama Bikapada Janusharasana. Standing, separate leg, head to knee. Head to knee. Okay, it's the forehead points in between the brow, drishti point. Inhale, exhale. And you can bend the knee more to try and get. And then you start with the back pressure. Coming out. Holding that pose. Boom. Up we go. Up we go. Nice and tall. Nice and tall. And release. I'll repeat this again. There are only 2 requirements to do this practice. Can you stand upright? Or do you have the ability to stand? And then when we get to the seated section, do you have the ability to lie down?
If your body can do that, then a tremendous amount of this practice is going to be accessible to you. As much as it's vigorous, as much as it's challenging, and as much as it's uncomfortable. Okay, that's important to understand here. The benefits are tremendous. Alright, so let's hear about that one. DiaryIMG Janushavasana. Standing separate leg, head to knee pose. Benefits: helps depression and loss of memory. Helps abdominal obesity. Helps diabetes. Balances blood sugar. Compresses pancreas and kidneys. Exercises the endocrine system, digestive and reproductive systems. Alright, so now we get to what is going to be the sort of finale pose or set of poses of the standing sequence. In this particular, it's called Tadasana. Tadasana can also just be standing mountain pose like that, but there's a series and there's a couple of Sanskrit subtleties in the naming, but Tadasana is totally fine here. Standing mountain pose. Alright, so what I say to people is, look, if your balance is not great, you start with the beginning one. The hands are together, the big toe is there, and you just stay in ankle level, and you are fighting that sway. You're learning about that sway that goes on. And as you get there and you sway, remember, because what we're doing is pituitary, pineal gland, all of these things are working on with the balance system, hence why balance is so good for us. If we're comfortable with that, then I'm going to say then we will go forward with the pose. The first level of the pose is described in the sequence. So we want to get the right foot into that left hand. We're then wanting to see, can that knee go, and we want to try and see, can we point, can we point this knee down into the ground hole, and then we stand. And everybody will do, this is your max advanced version for set 1. Nice, thinking about that you're flat, you've walked up and we're trying to flatten that knee down, up all the time. Left side, right foot, left foot, my apologies. And there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Alright, so then we're getting, so what do we want? We want to see that knee go flatter. I'm walking flat, flat, flat. Can I pull this one up a little bit? Get it there towards this crease there, down, namaskar hand, same. And by this time you're going, well done. Because now the practice is really over. Now the hardest is done. The uphill is done. You're on the floor, you're sweating. You did the most difficult yoga because you managed to get to the session. And as we all know, that's the hardest part. It's not the yoga that's in the room, it's the yoga that's outside the room. The willingness and the discipline to make sure, right, Saturday morning, 8 a.m., I'm going to invest in myself for 90 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes. You need to be here 10 to 8. You're going to be out by 9:40. Okay, of course, time and travel. It is a commitment. It is an investment. Tremendously good investment inside you for yourself. We'll hold that, okay. And for many of us, that's going to be absolutely fine. We're just going to repeat that. It's quite some time since I've done a toe stand. But if you're feeling pretty bullish, you're in a good space, you want to really get to see your balance, the reflexology on the toe pressure is also going to work with the brain quite substantially here. I'm going to attempt it. Up goes the leg, and we're going to hold it from there, nice and tall. With that leg, I need to hold the foot, otherwise the foot will never stay on my body by itself. But once I'm about halfway down there, I start to bend that knee. I have to as I start to reach down. Can I get my fingertippies onto the mat? Okay, then from there I find I can often push down, get my crown of the head for a moment. And then from there, it's a lowering down.
We're on the toe. Here's the toe stand portion. Do you see? There is the toe stand from there. And the toe stand is you're going to play. And this one's pretty intense on balance, guys. It's pretty intense. It's a while since I've done this. Let's see. Left hand, right hand. Gonna hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! Haven't done that for a while. Bang, up. Trying to come out of the pose as much as I can. Not the way I went into it. Remembering your exits from your poses are also poses. Okay, I repeat, your exits from your poses are also poses. That's toe stand, left hand, right hand side. Session leader. Listen guys, this is all the same anywhere you are on the planet, alright? Wherever you can find whatever is described as 26 plus 2, whether it's described as hot yoga, whether it's described as Bikram yoga, guys, that's what you're going for. Sometimes it's a 60-minute class, sometimes it's a 90-minute class. So once you understand this little suitcase of information, then you can find the same experience wherever you are. Alright, within your geographical vicinity, wherever you are on the planet. Alright, but this is specifically for people who are thinking about coming to my open practice on Saturdays, located in Maritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. So from that, there's your standing sequence, guys. I think that is it. It's coming up to, that's essentially 11 poses. Tree pose, Tadasana. Benefits: creates bad posture, creates hip and knee mobility, creates total body traction, balances coccyx, tightens gluteus maximus, releases abdominal tension, releases inflammation of the lower back, good for circulatory disorders, arthritis, and rheumatism. Toe stand, okay, is number 12, so that's your 12. So in that Tadasana sequence, we get Tadasana, or we have toe stand, which is Padangusthasana here. Yeah. Creates balance in the body and mind, strengthens stomach muscles, strengthens weak joints, good for arthritis in the knees and the legs. And then we say, right, turn around. All the feet are towards the back of the studio. Straighten your towel out. Have a sip of water. And the seated section will start after a Savasana, otherwise known as corpse pose or resting pose. Palms are nice up. Get those toes to flop away. Bring those ankles, those heels together. So, and then you can close your eyes, and you're gonna. You have only one job in Savasana, and that's to release the body totally from gravity into the floor. Alright guys, we'll discuss the sit-up and all the other matters of the seated section in the next video. So there are, with Savasana 13, there are 13 more poses to go, guys. We're into the floor sequence. That has given you a little breakdown on the standing sequence. 26 plus 2, hot yoga, 90 minutes. The first 45, 50 minutes. Those poses are accessible. They can feel uncomfortable. The benefits are tremendous. Thanks for watching, guys, and wishing you all a very good day.